You've called this an action-adventure game, but couldn't we call this the first action-adventure game with absolute minimal focus on the action part?
I guess it depends on how you define action. If you define it purely as kind of combat, or if you're defining it as, excitement. So if it comes from, there's a lot of chasing in the game, which isn't, typically aggressive. It's, you're trying to escape, but that feels pretty action-packed to me when I'm sort of sprinting across a rooftop with bullets pinging all around me. And it also kind of comes down to how you want to play the game. So, and the way you approach combat. So you can approach combat very aggressively, trying to take out all of the enemies, disarming them and shooting them, or you can really focus your efforts more on the movement aspect of things, reading the environment and trying to find a way past and through the enemies without actually having to engage them.
Could you tell me about the game modes in the game?
Okay, so there's 3 main game modes. So you've obviously got the story mode, which is playing through the whole single-player game and following the story. Then you've got speedrun mode and time trial mode. So speedrun is basically something we put in there for, the real hardcore players that really like to, sort of whittle down their times and play through the game as absolutely fast as they can. And we really designed the game from that aspect as well. So once you're experienced with the move set and once you're familiar with the geometry of the levels, it's possible to increase your times, or decrease your times, I should say, by even a factor of 500% if you get that good. And then the time trial mode, we basically took all of our favorite sort of parts and chunks from the game and we broke them up into checkpoint races, basically. So you can grind them and try and really get your times down and do your absolute best with the movement and find the best and fastest routes through the environment. And what happens then is, if you can qualify, because there are 3 different qualifying times on each of the 23 courses, then you upload your ghost online. And then what you can do is you can download ghosts from other players, so you can race against all of your friends and you can race against the best players in the world, which is difficult. The best players are getting really good already.
Can I play this in a stealth way, or do I need to keep up the pace?
So, we took a very conscious decision when we were making the game that we didn't want to go at it from like a stealth angle. So much of the mechanics are based around momentum and the speed that you're traveling, and that was really the angle that we wanted to take when you came into conflict and combat. We didn't want you slowly creeping around the environments. We wanted you to sort of read them quickly and use your speed and agility to get through them and avoid them, rather than, slow creeping gameplay.
Isn't everything in the game just the same? Run, 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 and even more running.
No. It's important for us that we sort of balance the different things that you do in the game. So, chase is just one aspect of the game, and that's the areas that we build for that. It's very much about, making these quick decisions, moving fast and avoiding the enemies, avoiding the gunfire and getting away. Then you obviously have the combat elements of the game, and that doesn't necessarily have to be about speed. For example, if you want to work more with the weaponry in the game, which is probably the most immediate thing that gets presented with you, because it's usually the easiest option. There's the enemy, you can disarm him and take his weapon. But then you become a weapon yourself pretty much. You lose your speed and your agility, and so the pacing of the game changes quite dramatically if you are going to use your arsenal like that.
I know that the game has changed during the development, but are you satisfied with the game right now?
Yeah, but in a way I think it doesn't really matter whether I'm satisfied with it. I think what it really comes down to is the players themselves. And so, we finished the game and, we were happy with what we created and we were proud of the stuff that we've done. But, that doesn't count for anything if the players don't like it. And so I think really the first time I felt really, really good was when we really got the demo out there to sort of a much wider public, and we're able to sort of sit down and read the forums and really gauge the response of the players. And we were really thrilled by how positive that was.
Have you talked to some real parkour guys and asked them what they think about the game?
Yeah, for example, just over there we had Sebastian Foucault, one of the sort of founders of free running here. And I think it's probably one of the nicest things he said was that he was saying that, when he was standing in the game and looking out across the environment, he got the same kind of feeling that he got when he was standing on a rooftop for real, sort of sitting there and trying to plan out his route and think about how he was going to get somewhere.
The game has just hit the streets, but have you thought about a sequel?
We're actually still working on Mirror's Edge because the PC is released in January. So right now we're pretty much focused on finishing that off. And, we'll worry about the future later, once we've all had a holiday.